This is a battle in the use it and lose it tournament between Galatia and Nervii. We have for Nervii 4 Mighty Horse, an Oathsworn, 4 Fierce Swords, and 4 Oathsworn. Then we have 4 Levy Freemen, a very simple barbarian rush build, but one that can be very powerful. Galatia has no elite sword units, they have the very good Galatian legionaries, but against Oathsworn they die. So we have 4 Galatian legionaries, then we have naked swords, a very interesting choice. Usually you see Galatian swords. Then we have the Cappadocians, we have the Galatian raiders, of course, and then we have Levy Freemen up front, and the general is a noble horse. Galatia doesn't have a sword general either, which hurts them a bit. But on this particular map, the fragileness of Nervii is somewhat reduced by the forest. They're going to take less damage from missiles, cavalry is going to be less effective, and it looks like the Nervii enjoy a comfortable terrain advantage in being able to fight downhill. Yep, if they position themselves correctly, they definitely will be fighting downhill against Galatia. Galatia will be fighting uphill, and fighting uphill against Oathsworn is not something you want to do. It's going to be very hard for Galatia to turn around the terrain advantage. If they move up here, Nervii moves back, and it's about as bad as it is if they move up here and Nervii is able to go down. Galatian raiders eat precursors from Levy Freemen. Didn't manage to kill anything on that little skirmish. Once again, Levy Freemen showing just how useful they are in screening away much superior troops in terms of price. If you remove the Levy Freemen from the barbarians, they are much harder to use. Block charges, tie down units, precursor cavalry, eat skirmish fire, like Levy Freemen can do it all for extremely cheap. And that 25 bonus against cavalry, it's easy to underestimate it, but a Levy Freeman chop down cavalry very, very rapidly. It essentially gives them 47 weapon damage and 47 weapon damage against cavalry, and a melee attack of, let's see, a melee attack of 37, which isn't bad at all. And since they have 7 AP on their spears, 32 damage guaranteed against cavalry on a successful hit. That is substantial. And here the mercenary Cappadocians are also feeling the fire from the Levy Freemen. Getting the Mighty Horse into the Galatian raiders now. The Mighty Horse is going to get charged by mercenary Cappadocians, but then again the mercenary Cappadocians are going to get charged by Mighty Horse and Levy Freemen if they don't pull out. So this is not the kind of engagements that Galatia wants. Getting downhill charged on the mercenary Cappadocians, and now the Levy Freemen throwing a few precursors for good measure. Able to join the fight, and the mercenary Cappadocians should drop rapidly when the Levy Freemen join the fight. Let's see how many kills they get. 10. And then they turn around to face the Galatian raiders. But yeah, the mercenary Cappadocian Cav took a lot of hit point damage, and they are being defeated in this fight, while the Levy Free screen away the Galatian raiders. Now the Levy Freemen are charging into these Levy Freemen. Looks like these Levy Freemen didn't get a charge, so that's going to tip the scale in favor of these Levy Freemen, and of course the Naked Swords are going to finish off the Levy Freemen. Mercenary Cappadocian Cav off the field. Good exchange for Nervii. But now things are starting to turn around, because Galatian raiders are surrounding here, and the Mighty Horse might get into these Galatian raiders, but the Noble Horse is chasing them. So once the Noble Horse gets in the mix, these Mighty Horse are going to die. In the center, Nervii pushing up. I don't see Galatia having the tools to defeat the rush from Nervii here whatsoever. Levy Freemen being used correctly, sent in against Levy Freemen to stop the Fierce Swords and Oathsworn from getting their charges. Naked Swords charging into Levy Free here. And this means that the Naked Swords in turn are going to get Frenzy charged by the Fair Swords. And now these Levy Freemen are tying down multiple units. Fair Swords charging into Galatian Legionaries. The Galatian Legionaries are going to win this engagement. This engagement looks like it's going to go the way of Galatia, because the Fair Swords winning on the charge, but then they just drop super quickly when the Nakeds join the fight. The main thing to be concerned for, though, for Galatia, these Oathsworn units. Like the Naked Swords got into the Oathsworn, getting a few kills, but then they're just going to die. Getting some Galatian Spears here into the Mighty Horse, but the Mighty Horse is just losing. So getting this Mercenary Cappadocian Cav out of the fight and getting the rear charges is so important for Galatia at this point. Naked Swords fighting against Mighty Horse, not that effective against them, because they only have 25 weapon damage against non-infantry units. So Galatia, as predicted, winning the flanks here, but this is not where there are Oathsworn. What Galatia could do now is attack the Oathsworn with one unit, ideally the Levy Freeman, and then swing around the flanks, because the center is completely overrun. The Galatian Legionaries do not get the kills they need against the Oathsworn and the Fair Swords. Nice downhill charge by the Noble Horse, but they do get hit by precursors on the way in. They're going to wreck the Fair Swords on the charge, but I don't see the Noble Horse being able to disengage here without taking a lot of casualties. That's a problem. The Oathsworn gets a charge on the Galatian Legionaries. Mercenary Cappadocians come in to rear charge the Oathsworn, but the Oathsworn already got a good engagement here. Celtic Skirmishers firing here, but they're going to be causing quite a bit of friendly fire. Levy Free getting into the Mercenary Cappadocians, and look at how much damage the Noble Horse took from that rear charge. Only 30 kills now for a very expensive unit. And this is what usually happens with Nervii. You'll see the Fair Swords off the field, you'll see the cavalry off the field, and then Oathsworn units are tanking it out. But now the Oathsworn here, they are actually losing. They're fighting against a lot of units. Mighty Horse getting charged there by the Mercenary Cappadocians. This is where it's all about, though. In the center where there are Oathsworn. Oathsworn losing decisively up against these 4 units. And no wonder, they're fighting up against 2 Naked Swords and 2 Galatian Legionaries. Naked Swords, nice kills in the center. The Galatian Raiders moving around the flanks, just as the Galatian Legionaries break. The Mercenary Cappadocians kill off the Mighty Horse. Now this doesn't look too bad for Galatia. Oathsworn dead on the flanks, 3 units able to swing around. And now Galatia is in a pretty damn good position to deal with Nervii. Getting downhill charges with Mercenary Cappadocians. Able to get charges on stationary Oathsworn. The Noble Horse charges into Oathsworn, doing a bit of damage there. Headhunt being used. They can also use Fighting Spirit to stay in the fight for longer, but there's just too much Galatia left on the field now. Naked Swords, 98 kills. The Naked Swords overall have done a good job in this battle. Breaking the Galatian Legionaries, breaking the Naked Swords with charges from the Oathsworn. Levy Freeman charging in. Mercenary Cappadocians charging in. It would be amazing if the Oathsworn are able to hold here, but there are also Naked Swords running around. There's the Free Noble Horse. There's a unit of Galatian Raiders able to go in, do a bit of damage, get out. So 32 kills now. 205 on the Oathsworn. 177, 225. But that's the Nervii problem. Nervii loses everything but the Oathsworn. And when Oathsworn gets surrounded like this, they're going to be dropping. But there are a few troops in the game that would be able to hold this well, and it's not over yet. Not even close. Cycle charging desperately into the Oathsworn, trying to break them. Oathsworn, not easy units to break, but Nervii has so much left. Red morale here, Naked Swords losing decisively. The Galatian legionaries are holding the center while the cavalry charges in, but the cavalry is also losing a lot by charging into these Oathsworn. Second wind being used on the Oathsworn, so they are holding, but only 37 men here, 47 here, and 46 here. It would be amazing if it was enough to break Galatia, and it looks like it just might be, because they are fighting downhill against the Galatian legionaries. This is the ace though, the 16-man noble horse, charging downhill. Nope, it pulls away actually. And Galatian raiders running around. These Oathsworn should just get charged in the back, and yep, they do. Losing a lot of men from that very heavy melee charge, charging these Oathsworn in the back. Losing decisively, combat's even, losing. The Galatian raiders though are in position to drop quickly up against the Oathsworn. Oathsworn in Headhunt. When Headhunt wears out, they are in a bit of trouble, but so are the Galatian legionaries. The Galatian legionaries are in a bunch of trouble themselves. General against general action here, charging in. The Oathsworn is winning now against a very depleted noble horse. The noble horse is out of battle rhythm. It is now, it's active because second wind was used, but it's going to die, and if this unit dies, the Oathsworn are actually going to be able to grind this out, amazingly enough. And that's the Oathsworn factor. Second wind being used here, and now the Galatian legionaries have no chance, absolutely no chance. They're going to get charged in the rear. And this is what Oathsworn can do. This is why Oathsworn are such a dangerous unit. Normally you would be able to field more Galatian legionaries, and that sort of tips the balance in favor of Galatia. But look at these Oathsworn: 323, 227, 298, 351. Compare that to the kills of the Galatian legionaries. Like, it's so hard. When melee is limited, it still tips the balance of power in favor of the faction that can bring the best melee, and I really think these fierce swords are necessary. Just bring Celtics, just bring Oathsworn, and lose everything else. Try to take care of the important enemy units. The Naked Swords did a good job here. It needs to be said, 174 is quite nice, but Galatia, Nervii had just the crucial level 3 units to go in, tie down Naked Swords, and allow the Oathsworn to do their thing. But it was a very close battle, a very good barbarian brawl this in the forest. Strength and honor.